What's up, everybody? I'm back. It's MacTheMovieGuy.com, and I've got another review for you. Hey, so it's March of 2022, and we are sitting in a time and place when Robert Pattinson is Batman, and Kristen Stewart is an Academy Award nominee, and Taylor Lautner is in this Netflix movie with Kevin James and Rob Schneider. Yep. This is a review of Home Team, currently on Netflix. Because all Happy Madison productions now go to Netflix. Great deal for them. So, for those of you new to my channel, I am a blind film critic, which is why I'm not staring directly at my camera. And I also use my phone because it's a good point of reference for me to be able to hold and know where the camera's at. And at least look like I'm kind of looking at the camera. I also talk about things like audio description, more so than things like visual effects and what it looks like when something blows up. Used to be able to see, so I know what that looks like. So I have a unique perspective, I think, on film, having seen a bunch of them, then losing my vision, and now I'm attacking it from this perspective. So we're going to talk about Home Team. Yeah, I had no idea what this was. Honestly, I don't really think I approach every Happy Madison production with the idea that very little thought was put into it. It's going to be a series of probably bad jokes, not a lot of great writing. The majority of the ones that he's dropped to Netflix have not been great. There have been a few that I thought were okay. And surprisingly, this is actually one of them. This is actually one of them. I would say like the Do-Over was one of them. Murder Mystery was one of them. There are a couple that Adam Sandler and Happy Madison have made that were okay. Actually, David Spade's The Wrong Missy was okay. I wouldn't drag that one through the mud. But Home Team, what is it about? Because I think that's important, because I had no idea. It's actually based on a true story, which feels like a real departure for Happy Madison, because usually they make these weird characters, and everything is just so insane. But it's actually based on the true story of Sean Payton, the coach of the New Orleans Saints, and that year that he spent banned from the sport, I guess, because right after he won the Super Bowl trophy, there was a scandal about how he was having his players intentionally harm opposing players. And so he gets banned from the sport for a year. Of course, he contests that. There's even a really cool cameo by the actual Sean Payton in this film. Right at the end, sort of like right before they're about to close the book on the film, the actual Sean Payton walks in as a completely different character and meets Kevin James as Sean Payton. So in his year off, Sean Payton's like, hey, I have a kid. I should probably go check on him. So he goes out to Texas to check on his estranged son, who lives with his ex-wife, played by who I can only assume is it's a Jackie Sandler. And I didn't look up, is this Adam Sandler's wife? But based on the age, I'm going to guess there's a high probability that this is Adam Sandler's wife. I guess it could be his sister, but based on the age range and the fact that she's married to Rob Schneider, and her character used to be married to Kevin James, she's going to be in that same sort of age range that Adam Sandler's wife, I'm assuming, is in. So I'm going to guess that's Adam Sandler's wife. You can fact check me if you want, and then be like, no, it's his niece. I don't know. Yeah, so she's married to Rob Schneider's Jamie, who is the worst character in the film. Well, yeah, pretty close. He's totally useless, and just everything wrong about this movie. I don't hate Rob Schneider. I don't know why they consistently give him the worst roles in every Happy Madison movie. And yeah, so his son is on a football team. They're not very good. And Sean initially just wants to spend more time with his kid. And then he sort of gets pulled in and sucked into being a coach. And the team starts winning. But this was a team that was having a lot of fun. And now it's like, are we really having fun? Now it's all about winning. And so Sean has to kind of decide, is this about fun or is this about winning? Like that great sort of conflict that we had in every sports film in the 90s. And that's actually one of the things that I liked about Home Team, to be totally honest, is it reminded me of the 90s. I mean, look at my age. You can probably guess about my age. You can guess about what I grew up with. And yeah, I totally did. I totally grew up with a whole bunch of films that are near and dear to my heart, like The Mighty Ducks and Angels in the Outfield and not a League of Their Own, Rookie of the Year, The Big Green, Little Giants, just all of those, Little Big League, all those sports movies that we had back then, Air Bud, where, I mean, there were so many sports movies in the 90s. I guess A League of Their Own still counts because it was a sports movie, it just didn't feature kids. That's why I was going to say it. I was just listing sports films. Field of Dreams, Tin Cup. Just start listing random sports films. But this feels like that to me. To have this group of little kids that just wants to have fun. And they're sort of this ragtag group. And they're not very good at the sport. And it took me all the way back to that period of time where we were making movies like that. And they reminded me a lot of like the Mighty Ducks, but just like a baseball version of them, maybe like the Sandlot, yes. So yeah, it got me right in the feels. Of course, Adam Sandler came up in the 90s too, so he would understand what that was like and what those kind of films were like. So of course he would produce something like this. But the kids in this film are great. They all have their cute little personalities. The one that plays Sean Payton's kid is, he does pretty good. They don't give him too much dramatic weight. This is a Happy Madison production. I kind of wonder what this movie would be like if it was not a Happy Madison production. If this film had just been adapted by like a regular studio with normal producers who were not looking to try to make this an absurdist, nonsensical thing every 5 minutes with just stupid humor. You know what I'm saying? Because that's still here. That kind of juvenile humor pops up every once in a while, and you're just like, you guys are so close to making a really good movie. This is Kevin James's best performance ever. I'm just running through the list of things he's done in my head, and maybe previously I would have said Here Comes the Boom because it had the most emotional weight to it, but this is by far his most dramatic role I think he's ever really had, that actually lands, where he actually feels like he was perfectly cast for this role. I have no idea what Sean Payton looks like and whether or not that's, Kevin James even looks like Sean Payton, because I can't picture him. But I really thought that what Kevin James did in this film was actually really nice. And I made fun of him, Taylor Lautner, but his character actually doesn't take away from this film. Taylor Lautner plays this straight also. He's the football coach of the team originally, and he does a really good job of being really sincere with these boys. And he's not there for comic relief. Rob Schneider is there for comic relief. Gary Valentine is there for comic relief. Some other people, but actually this film isn't really a strong comic relief type film, although Isaiah Mustafa, when he comes into the film, way over the top, but he's obviously there to push some buttons, and it's got a good heart to it, and then at the same time, then you have like an entire scene where everybody just projectile vomits. So I don't really know what to do with that. But there were parts of it that I really loved, and I was really happy that I was watching Home Team. And then there were other parts where I was like, God, this Happy Madison shit, God, like we're just like really mad that they made this movie. Because I think if people who were normal had made this movie would be so good, but instead it's made by people who think these kind of jokes are still funny in 2022. The audio description is actually really good in this film. It's Jedediah Bartlett doing the narration, who is like the first narrator name that I've memorized because he's so good at everything that he reads. I think the last thing I remember him doing was Ozark. And yeah, he does a really good job. I suppose what this film needs in terms of great audio description is the football plays to really be well described. Like when they're running their plays on the field, we have to be able to follow what's going on the field. And I thought those were really well described. I think less so in this film. I talk a lot about character entrances and exits, and I talk about that a lot of times with regard to a certain genre of films like action, drama, mainly thriller, suspense, horror type films. Like you really have to know who's in the room. With this, you don't really need to know who's in the room. You just kind of need to know the joke that's about to be set up. You need to know what the kids are doing on the field. Just sort of like the main things like that. And I think this film does a really good job of keeping that going. I didn't really feel like I missed anything. I didn't really feel like I needed more description. There wasn't really anything that I felt like I was missing here. So, yeah, I would rate it a good audio description. So, yeah, Home Team. Surprisingly, I will recommend this. I actually liked it. I liked it a lot more than it deserves to be liked. Because I should hold it against it that, the stupid things in the film, the Happy Madison qualities to the film, I should be punishing this with a lower grade, but that's what critics always do. This thing has a 23 Metacritic score, so it doesn't need that. That feels really low. It's not that bad of a film. On the Happy Madison scale, this is definitely near the top, especially if you think about what Happy Madison's been doing lately. It's way more near the top, especially of their Netflix films. So, like that thing that Sandler made, I can't remember the name of it, with Kevin James, where he's like the spy writer. That was terrible. This is pretty good, and this is probably Kevin James's best performance of his career. Yeah, in Home Team. So that film that you looked at and probably kept scrolling past on Netflix, if you think it might be your thing, I would say go ahead and watch it. If you just absolutely hate everything Adam Sandler's ever touched in his entire life, and hate all Happy Madison productions, and can't wrap your head around watching a movie starring Kevin James, Rob Schneider, and Taylor Lautner, that's totally valid. They've earned that. But people also thought Simon Rex was a terrible actor, and then suddenly he's in Red Rocket and he's winning an Indie for Best Actor. So anyway, you can give people a chance. They can surprise you. I'm going to give Home Team a B. Oh, that was yeah. That's a higher score than I've given some films this year. It's a higher score than I gave Turning Red. Mainly because Ming in Turning Red just really annoyed the crap out of me. If Ming was not in Turning Red, I would have given Turning Red an A. Like if May had been brought up by a father, that movie would have been totally different for me. Or if they had actually just written a better character. But yeah, I just gave Home Team a better score than Turning Red. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Have you seen it? Do you hate all Happy Madison productions? Again, totally valid. Some of them are terrible. I try to approach them all like fair, with some fair quality to it, like hopefulness that maybe it'll be okay. And this surprised me. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can go to my website, macthemovieguy.com, for more of my nonsensical shenanigans. And don't forget to check out the audio description project, because you can go there and see what else has audio description and find what you want to watch for movie night. You can plan your movie night. That way, maybe you don't have to watch Home Team. You can watch something else. So, until next time, just remember not to cheat in the NFL and get yourself suspended so that they make a Netflix movie about you and put Kevin James in the lead role. Bye!